Tonight, the manhunt for Joseph Jakubowski is intensifying. Additional federal resources have arrived in Janesville, Wisconsin, hoping to stop what they believe is a planned attack. It's been 6 days since police say Jakubowski...
What up, YouTube? Knowledge is self-determination. So I wanted to do this report because I thought it was an interesting story about this man, Joseph Jakubowski. FBI increases reward for manifesto writing fugitive to $20,000. This man obviously sent allegedly sent a manifesto to President Donald Trump, right? So it was a 161-page manifesto. So I'm gonna go ahead and read some of the story from a couple of different sites. Monday, investigators released photos of tattoos worn by Jakubowski, and authorities say they have received more than 500 tips, including 150 on Monday alone. Let's see. As a manhunt for a gun thief who mailed an anti-government manifesto to the president entered day 6, one former high-ranking FBI official described the man as a quote-unquote ticking time bomb. Quote, the most dangerous people in this genre are the ones whose ideology is kind of all over the place, and they don't really fit in with the neo-Nazi, the skinheads. End quote. Chris Swecker, a former head of the FBI Criminal Investigative Division, told NBC News, quote unquote, they're off on their own. Swecker said Joseph Jakubowski would fit into that category based on what authorities have divulged about the suspect's 161-page manifesto addressed to President Donald Trump. Quote unquote, he seems like kind of a ticking bomb, end quote, Swecker added. Federal and local authorities escalated their search Monday for Jakubowski, who they say stole at least 16 rifles and handguns from the Armageddon gun shop in Janesville, Wisconsin. Imagine that, gun shop named Armageddon. On Tuesday, after mailing an anti-government and anti-religion manifesto to the White House. Authorities have said the 32-year-old fugitive was quote-unquote highly agitated by national politics recently, and an associate of Jakubowski told investigators that he had spoken of a plan to steal guns and carry out an unspecified attack. The Rock County Sheriff's Office said Monday additional federal resources were brought in, quote-unquote, from across the nation to help with the investigation and continued to investigate the more than 400 tips they've received. Local patrols have increased, the sheriff's office said, and authorities were in touch with area school officials out of an abundance of caution. Former law enforcement officials and legal advocates told NBC News that while authorities were still investigating the specifics surrounding Jakubowski, the circumstances echo domestic terror cases that can be the most dangerous and are often the hardest to spot. Quote, it's a race against time right now, end quote, Swecker said. Another quote, I'm sure they're poring over that manifesto, end quote. Police said in a statement on Friday that Jakubowski's manifesto, which he allegedly mailed to Trump on April 4th, quote, includes grievances against government and personal angst towards anyone or anything other than natural law or rule, end quote. Jakubowski is considered armed and dangerous and was in possession of a bulletproof vest and helmet, police said. So, that statement, I want to focus on that statement about domestic terrorism. Like the guy said, let's find that again. Domestic terrorism can be, let's see, and I'm gonna quote this exactly. The circumstances echoed domestic terror cases that can be the most dangerous and are often the hardest to spot. That's what I would assume that's what qualifies them as one of the most dangerous, because America has especially now that Trump is in office, has a policy where policies are being implemented where the focus on terrorism and terrorist attacks aren't domestic. The focus of Trump's regime or Trump's current position as president right now, their focus is on on overseas terrorists coming to America, not focusing on domestic terrorists. And as we all know, that when Trump came into office, he actually halted an FBI investigation into the police departments across America hiring white supremacist racists, aka Ku Klux Klan members, neo-Nazi and neo-Nazi skinhead organizations. They were actually investigating these police departments across the country. Trump halted those investigations so that the FBI can focus their attention mainly on non-domestic terrorists, i.e. terrorists from other countries, specifically Muslim countries, to be more specific. So as we can see, that the world is not short of any kind of terrorism, whether it's domestic or foreign, right? And America usually turns a blind eye a lot of times to domestic terrorism. And some of the biggest terrorist organizations in the world exist in America. The Ku Klux Klan, most white supremacist groups, period. The neo-Nazis, neo-Nazi skinheads, and other anti-establishment type of white supremacy organizations have been committing terrorist acts in this nation for decades, some hundreds of years now, or 100 plus years or so, I should say. I think it's time that maybe the president and his cabinet and government reevaluates what's important. Is it important for America to be a force against terrorism, foreign and domestic, or are we going to continue to be the most hypocritical country on the planet and say that only everybody else is a terrorist except us? I mean, I'm posing that question because I'm curious as to what is actually going to happen so far as terrorist policies in America are concerned. Because as we heard from this story, the only terrorists in the world aren't people of brown and black, African, and Middle Eastern descent. Is it more important to focus on domestic terrorists? Is it more important to focus on foreign terrorism? If we're going to have a world that comes together to fight all kinds of terror or to fight terrorism, shouldn't we be trying to eradicate all forms of terror?